Hey, this is Idea Coach's coach. He's from State of MMA 4. Now, the last time I did this was back in March during the first quarter. Now we're in the second quarter, being June 2012. And there's been two major things that have been taking place in the world of MMA today, that being injuries and testosterone replacement therapy. Now, the first thing I'm talking about is the injuries. This entire month of June, everything was really centered around the rematch between Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen for the UFC Middleweight Championship. That got pushed back mainly due to the UN's involvement in Brazil during the same time of UFC 147. However, a number of other things have taken place in terms of injuries, with Jose Aldo being out, with Vitor Belfort breaking his hand. And that seems to be a very, very common injury taking place within a lot of fighters these days. Maybe it's that they don't know how to punch correctly, or, you know, for those of you who don't know boxing, a lot of times when you have people who close their fists and keep their close at the point of impact, what ends up happening is the vibrations get sent back after you hit something to your hand, and thus you have the chance to break your own hand. This is very, very common anytime you're, dealing with hits that go to the head, when you hit someone in the temple up here, because the cranium is your hardest bone in your body, and if you don't open your hand just very, very slightly, all the force that you hit with, not all of it, but a decent amount of force that you hit with it will vibrate back to your hand and thus can cause breakage. So I think a lot of people are trying to slug these things out, keeping their fists closed and not opening up when they need to. And also for Vitor Belfort's case, not practicing properly. Now that's something that Badboy Silva said in an interview, that he was an amateur for not practicing his striking properly, which is true, but he also would have said that he was a coward, which in my opinion is completely false. Now, there's talks about Anderson Silva's knee maybe hurt. He's been getting off a shoulder injury. From my understanding, that those rumors are false. However, it just adds to the number of different delays going on due to injuries and whatnot within MMA. I think a lot of that has to do with so much fighting going on. Many UFC events are taking place. There's, UFCs, the pay-per-views, the free events that are also numbered as pay-per-views, like 138 or something like that. Fox, Ultimate Fighter, FX, things of that nature. So that's the really one big thing that's been going on. The injury bug has been plaguing MMA for a little bit in the past few months. Hopefully it'll get over it by the fall, and we'll have a very great fall and winter time like we did last year with UFC 137 on off into Christmas. So that's what I hope for the state of MMA. The major thing I want to talk about is the drugs, and more drugs that's going on within mixed martial arts that is somehow seem to be acceptable for some odd reason. And that is the testosterone replacement therapy, which I believe is just complete bullshit. After seeing the Overeem documentary, after he got caught with a 14-to-1 ratio with his testosterone level, which is just enormous, they also videotaped the press conference that he was in with his doctor, who seemed to be more like a fanboy doctor, at least the way that his own video edited him and his interactions with the Nevada State Commission. It seems to me that these testosterone replacement therapy prescriptions are given by fanboy doctors. Maybe it's as easy as getting like a medical marijuana license out in California. This stuff has to stop, and I don't know where do fans draw the line when it comes to this, because you have one way of thinking that, well, if everyone takes the drug, then everything will be fair, but then that loses a lot of the legitimacy of the sport itself, and that's the last thing that MMA and namely the UFC needs to lose at this point in its time of expansion. And with the shows not doing as big buys as they used to, and the gates being smaller and smaller, the last thing they need is some sort of drug scandal running rampant over their entire roster. If you want to see people on drugs all the time, watch the fucking WWE. The thing is this is the true the true criminalization of using performance-enhancing drugs, and that it alters the most valuable resource known to man, and that is time. You see, when you take a chemically enhanced drug, whether it be, you know, the straight soft steroids that you have the needles in the butt, or the fucking growth hormone that's much more difficult to detect, or the testosterone replacement therapy, what it ends up doing is actually giving you more time to train like a beast and less needed time to recover. So it's actually like you're altering time itself within your own body. Now, there may be consequences later on in people's lives. We don't know that yet with these new different performance-enhancing drugs that are on the market today. It's not like the 1980s where, you know, you're gonna see a whole bunch of fighters with big tits or anything like that. So that is not completely known. But it's since they're altering the time in which they can train and be healthy, and then lower the time of recovery, it kind of makes you wonder just how legitimate any champion is if they're taking the testosterone replacement therapy stuff. I just don't understand why some people think like, oh, well, you know, Dan Henderson's a beast, a man who actually admitted to taking TRT. And when you look back at his record, he's had problems with people like, you know, Murilo Bustamante. Yes, he knocked him out one time, but their second fight was a very, very close fight. Kazuhiro Misaki. You know, very, very big trouble with these kind of fighters, and then all of a sudden he's beating Fedor and Shogun, and everyone loves him because, in all honesty, everyone does love a winner. But to sit here and say that either one of those two fighters, that being Misaki or Murilo Bustamante, a man who I met and I think he's really great, no one would really think that he's better than Fedor or Shogun at any time or any era in terms of mixed martial arts. Now you have Dan Henderson beating all these guys and getting older, and people just think like, oh, well, everything's fantastic because he's winning. He trains like a beast. He's a man's man. No, guys like him, Rampage, who now admits to taking it, Chael Sonnen, and I believe Rich Franklin is looking into getting to the TRT. It's kind of like Mark McGuire. You know, Mark McGuire was this huge hero back in, was it 1998 or 1999, when he was making all those home runs. But then just a couple of years ago, he's in the Fed courts pleading guilty to cheating. I don't want to see this happen to what we perceive to be, at this point in time, MMA legends. And I hope that you guys, if you think like, oh, well, you know, Sonnen would have beat Anderson Silva without the TRT because he's just that good of a wrestler, no. Just like I said before, because you have more time to train and less time for recovery, it alters time itself within your own body. I feel that Alistair Overeem, a person who I'm a huge fan of, had no business getting caught with that high-ass ratio. And I really wish that these athletic commissions will all follow the same suit when it comes to how they determine what the ratio of whatever banned substance that someone could have in their body. Because if you take things from GNC, it alters you chemically as well. What the ratio should be, what the fine should be, and what the testing should be. You know, in the California State Athletic State Commission, it's completely different. They have 3 doctors watching you pee when you take the test, so that means no one can cheat. But when you have something like the Nevada State Commission, it's almost like you go to this bathroom and then you come out with a piss sample, which you could easily get from your friend, change the urine samples, then hand them the cup and you come out clean. So I just really wish, that's also why very few people get caught in Nevada. If you look at all the people who got caught with steroids, very, very few got caught in Nevada. Chris Levin got caught twice out in Miro. Sean Church, Chael Sonnen, I believe Feijiao just got caught with the banned substance that is unknown at the time of this video because it just happened today. All of it is always outside of Nevada. So I think Nevada's Athletic State Commission is just complete bullshit. Fuck them. Let's just do it the California way, or everyone just takes a blood test where, you know, you can't get caught with the growth hormone, the too much TRT. I know that for some fighters, because of years and years of weight cutting, it alters their testosterone level. But really, the thing is that when you call up the mixed martial artists of today, a lot of these guys didn't start out like the Ultimate Fighting prospects that you have right now in 2012 where their first sport is to go and be a UFC fighter or MMA fighter in some kind. A lot of these guys we talk about, like, you know, Kevin Randleman, Dan Henderson, the Nogueira brothers. These guys were fighters and were competitive, physical combat competitors, and different sports beforehand where they were weight cutting. So it alters how their liver, you know, processes things and thus can lower their testosterone level depending on how hard they cut for how many years. So once again, it's like, how do we measure this? And the only way to measure it is not measure it at all and just say, fuck it, if you got more than, you know, a 1-to-6 ratio, you cheated and everything should be a non-contest after that. So that's really my rant for the TRT therapy that's being done by these fanboy doctors. I never knew that you could have replacement testosterone until people start finding ways to catch you for growth hormone. So it's just like they just find like another loophole how to cheat. Say what you want to say, feel how you want to feel, but if you want MMA to get better, and if you want MMA to be a legitimate sport, then we need to take out these fucking substances. Okay, that's why baseball sucks so much. Because everyone's doing shit. Alex Rodriguez, you know, most highest paid baseball player of all time perhaps, getting caught. And you know, no one cares, but at the same time, baseball's popularity in the United States has declined over the past 15 years. I have to go on Google the source of that, which hopefully I'll find in time to put in the link in the description below. Other than that, guys, that's my view on the state of MMA today. Please subscribe to Idea Coaches. Take care.